Hey guys, tonight we're doing something a little different. You're about to climb a mountain that doesn't care if you live or die. So yeah, you probably won't survive this either. But let's pretend it's April 30th, 1875, and you've just woken up at the base of Mount Shasta with ambition in your heart, absolutely terrible decision-making skills in your brain. Before you lace up those boots that won't save you, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. I'm not going to chase you down a volcano over it. And hey, drop your city and the time you're watching this down in the comments. I love knowing who else is awake during these quiet hours. Now, dim the lights, maybe grab a blanket for that cozy feeling, because you're going to need to remember what warmth feels like. Let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake up on volcanic rock, not a bed, not even a decent patch of dirt, rock, cold, hard, unforgiving rock that's been sucking the heat from your body for the past 2 hours while you pretended to sleep. Your name is John Muir, though right now you're wondering if your name should be John Muir, future cautionary tale. The darkness around you is absolute, the kind of dark that makes you question whether your eyes are actually open. You blink. Still dark. The stars above are so bright they look fake, like someone spilled salt across black velvet and called it the universe. You can see your breath, white clouds puffing out and disappearing into the night. Your blanket, and we're using that term generously here, is about as useful as a paper towel in a rainstorm. The cold has teeth. Actual teeth. They've been gnawing on your bones since you lay down, and now those bones feel like they belong to someone else, someone who made better choices. You sit up. Everything creaks. Your joints sound like a door that hasn't been oiled since the Renaissance. There's frost in your beard, which is impressive because you didn't think frost could grow on faces. Turns out, when it's cold enough, anything's possible, including terrible ideas. Jerome Fay, your guide who's supposed to know what he's doing, is already awake. He's poking at a fire that's producing more smoke than heat, like it's given up on life. The smoke rises straight up into the darkness, fleeing this place. Smart smoke. Ready? Jerome asks. No. The answer is no. You're not ready. Nobody's ready to climb 14,000 feet into the sky in April, wearing shirt sleeves like some kind of optimistic lunatic. But you nod anyway, because that's what men do when they're about to make spectacularly poor decisions. You nod and you stand and you pretend that walking up a volcano to take barometric readings is a reasonable Thursday activity. The plan seems simple enough. Climb to the summit, take your measurements while a colleague named Captain Augustus Rogers takes readings at the base, compare the numbers, feel very scientific about yourselves, then come back down before anything goes wrong. Spoiler alert, everything goes wrong, but you don't know that yet. Right now you're just cold and excited and convinced that today's going to be glorious. You're wearing shirt sleeves. Shirt sleeves. On a 14,000-foot volcano in April. You look at Mount Shasta rising above you, white and massive and indifferent, and think, that seems fine. The mountain looks back at you and thinks, oh, you sweet summer child. You start walking. The snow under your boots is hard enough to hold your weight, which feels like good luck. It's not good luck. It's the mountain luring you into a false sense of security. Each step makes a satisfying crunch. Crunch, crunch, crunch. It's almost meditative if meditation involved your lungs burning and your legs turning into wood soaked in regret. The first hour isn't terrible. The stars are scattered across the sky like someone dropped a jewellery box. You can see the outline of Black Butte, that perfectly conical hill that looks like a child's drawing of what mountains should be. Beyond it, darkness. Below you, darkness. Above you, a slowly lightening sky that promises a sunrise you probably don't deserve. You're carrying the barometer like it's made of glass in desperation. Because it is. Jerome has the other one. Between you, you're hauling about 40 pounds of scientific equipment up a volcano because the 19th century hasn't invented helicopters yet. Or common sense, apparently. The slope gets steeper. Your breathing gets louder. You start to notice that the air isn't cooperating. At sea level, air is thick and generous, giving you all the oxygen you want. Up here, it's thin and stingy, rationing itself like you're not even worth the effort. You take 3 breaths where one used to work. Around you, the landscape reveals itself slowly. Ridges of dark lava rock poke through the snow like bones showing through skin. Everything is sharp angles and harsh shadows. Nothing soft survives up here. Not trees, not moss, not hope. But it's beautiful. Devastatingly beautiful. The kind of beauty that makes you understand why people climb mountains even though mountains are clearly trying to kill them. The snow glows in the pre-dawn light, shifting through shades of blue and pink and gold. The sky is doing things with colour that shouldn't be legal. You stop to catch your breath. Jerome stops too. Neither of you talks because talking requires air, and you're both hoarding what little air your lungs can grab. You look at each other and nod. The nod says, "This is madness, but we're doing it anyway." It's a very efficient nod. By 7:30 in the morning, you're at the summit. 14,161 feet above the sea. You made it. You actually made it. The barometer confirms it. Your lungs confirm it by staging what feels like a protest against your entire existence. The view is absurd. Mountains stacked on mountains as far as you can see. Mount McLaughlin to the north, Lassen Peak to the south. The whole of California spread below you like a rumpled blanket. You can see forever, which means forever can see you. Small and foolish and grinning like an idiot. The temperature is 34 degrees. Not terrible. Almost pleasant. There's a bumblebee up here somehow, buzzing around like it has business at 14,000 feet. You and the bee regard each other. The bee seems more prepared for this than you are. You should leave now. You should take your readings and descend immediately. But the day is so clear, so perfect, so absolutely not threatening in any way. You decide to stay a while longer. This is your first mistake. The mountain watches and waits. The summit of Mount Shasta isn't a sharp point like you might imagine. It's broad, almost flat, covered in snow with rocky outcrops where the wind has scraped the white away. There are hot springs up here, volcanic vents hissing steam and sulphur into the cold air like the mountain is breathing. The smell is rotten eggs mixed with warning signs you're choosing to ignore. You crouch next to one of these vents, holding your hands over the steam. The warmth feels like a gift from a god you've disappointed. Your fingers, which went numb somewhere around 12,000 feet, begin to remember they're attached to your body. They tingle and ache, and you're grateful for the ache because it means they still work. Jerome sets up the barometer carefully, like he's handling explosives, which in a way he is. These glass tubes filled with mercury are fragile as bird bones. Drop them now and the whole expedition becomes pointless. Science demands precision and punishes clumsiness. You write in your notebook with shaking hands. Summit reached 7:30 a.m., temperature 34 degrees, sky clear, visibility excellent. Your handwriting looks drunk. Your fingers are still remembering how to be fingers. The morning stretches out. You take reading after reading, checking and double-checking because that's what science demands. The barometer says you're high. Your body says you're too high. Your spirit, that wild thing in your chest that dragged you up here, says you're exactly where you should be. Around noon, clouds begin to form below you. Not above, below. They gather in the valleys like fog in a bowl, thick and white and luminous. You're standing above the weather now, in a blue dome of sky that feels like the inside of something holy. The temperature rises. By 1 in the afternoon, it's 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Practically balmy. You shed a layer. Jerome eats some bread. There's a feeling in the air like the mountain has decided to tolerate you. Like you've been granted a temporary pass to exist up here among the rocks and ice, and that one determined bumblebee still buzzing around. You should be descending. Captain Rogers is waiting at the base for your signal. The plan was to take readings at 3 p.m. and head down immediately. But the day is so calm, so clear, so unlike every story you've ever heard about mountains turning violent. You let time slip through your fingers like water. At 3 o'clock, you take your final readings. The barometer cooperates. The numbers make sense. Everything is going according to plan, which should be your second clue that something is wrong. Mountains don't do according to plan. You pack up the equipment. You take one last look around, trying to burn the view into your memory. The way shadows fall across snowfields, the texture of volcanic rock, the impossible distance you can see. You're already thinking about how you'll describe this in your journal. What words you'll use to capture standing on top of the world while the world pretends not to notice you. Then you look north and notice something that makes your stomach drop. The clouds aren't just circling anymore, they're building. Tall columns of cumulus rising like towers, white turning grey, grey turning dark. The sky, which had been so obligingly blue, is developing intentions. The wind, which had been merely cold, begins to move with purpose. Jerome notices it too. You see it in the way he stops moving, stops talking, just stands there staring at the horizon, like he's reading a sentence he doesn't want to finish. "We should go," he says. You nod. This isn't an efficient nod. This is a nod that says, yes, we should go, and we should have gone an hour ago, and why are we still standing here? You start the descent. The route down follows the same path you came up, across the broad summit, down the steep snowfields, past the red volcanic bluffs, down the long ravine between two massive buttresses of rock. It's simple. You could do it blind. You might have to. Because as you begin walking, the storm that had been building politely on the horizon decides it's done being polite. First comes the wind, not a breeze. This is wind with a grudge. It hits you from the north like a wall, cold enough to steal your breath. You lean into it, planting your feet, and even so you almost get knocked sideways. Then comes the hail, little pellets of ice that sting when they hit your face. They bounce off the snow with sharp ticking sounds, thousands of them, like the mountain is being attacked by frozen insects. Then comes the snow, not flurries. This is snow that means business, thick flakes falling so fast they blur the air, turning the world into a wall of white. Within minutes, you can't see 20 feet. Within 10 minutes, you can't see 10 feet. The summit behind you disappears. The route ahead of you disappears. Jerome, walking 3 feet to your left, becomes a dark shape in the white, there and then gone. The temperature drops. You watched it rise all day and now it's falling like something thrown off a cliff. The thermometer reads 22 degrees below zero. Your shirt sleeves, which seemed adequate 6 hours ago, now seem like a joke the universe is telling at your expense. Here's what happens when you try to walk down a mountain in a blizzard. You don't walk down a mountain. You stumble through a fever dream made of cold and white while the mountain does everything it can to throw you off its back. Every step is a guess. The snow under your feet could be solid, or it could be a cornice. A bridge of frozen nothing stretched over a drop that ends with rocks and regret. You probe ahead with your walking stick, tapping, testing, hoping the mountain will give you honest answers. The mountain is not interested in honesty. The wind shrieks across the ridge. It doesn't blow steadily. That would be too simple. Instead, it comes in gusts that hit you like fists, random and mean. One moment you're standing upright, the next you're on your knees, or sitting down hard on the ice, or clutching at rocks while your hat flies away into the white. Your hat is gone. You watch it tumble and spin and vanish. You've had that hat for 6 years. It's been with you through the Sierra, through Yosemite, through a dozen summers and winters. Gone. The mountain ate it like an appetizer. Jerome shouts something, but the wind shreds his words into syllables that don't mean anything. You move closer. He cups his hands around his mouth and yells directly into your ear. Can't see the route? You nod. You can't see the route either. You can barely see your own feet. The world has shrunk to a sphere maybe 10 feet across, a bubble of barely visible white, and outside that bubble is more white, infinite white, white forever. You know the route is somewhere ahead, down a steep slope that angles between 2 ridges of volcanic rock. Get between those ridges and you're on your way to safety. Miss those ridges and you're headed toward cliffs where the mountain drops away into space. The difference between those two outcomes is maybe 50 feet to the left or right. In this visibility, 50 feet might as well be 50 miles. You make a decision. Not a good decision. There aren't any good decisions available anymore, but a decision. You'll navigate by the wind. The storm is coming from the north, so you'll keep the wind at your back and slightly to the right. That should aim you southwest, down the slope between the ridges. Should. Probably. Maybe. You start walking. Each step kicks up powder that adds itself to the already infinite powder in the air. The snow is getting deeper. It's up to your knees now, then your thighs, then your waist in the drifts. You're not walking anymore. You're swimming through solid water, forcing your body forward through resistance designed to break your will. Your legs burn. Not from warmth, you remember warmth vaguely, like childhood, but from the acid burn of muscles doing work they weren't designed for. Each step costs something you don't have to give. You give it anyway. The lightning starts, in a snowstorm, because apparently regular terrible wasn't sufficient and the mountain upgraded to supernatural terrible. The bolts crack through the cloud somewhere above you, lighting up the snow from inside, turning everything electric blue-white for a fraction of a second. The thunder comes immediately. No delay, no counting seconds. The storm is here. The storm is everywhere. You've been walking for an hour, or 3 hours, or 15 minutes. Time has become negotiable. Your body is doing something it learned back in Scotland, some ancient genetic memory of cold that tells your blood to retreat inward, to protect the core even if it means sacrificing the fingers and toes. Your fingers have stopped hurting, which would be good news except you know it's actually very bad news. You stop. Jerome stops. You're breathing like men who've run miles, even though you've probably covered a few hundred yards. The thin air, the altitude, the cold, it's all adding up to a math problem that doesn't solve to survival. Jerome points at something in the white. You squint. There, barely visible, a dark shape. Rock. The edge of one of those ridges, maybe. You move toward it, hoping it's the ridge that means safety, and not the ridge that means you've gone too far east and are about to walk off the Mud Creek cliffs. It's the wrong ridge. You know this because when you reach it, you can see that it's not a gradually descending spine. It's a vertical wall of volcanic rock, dark red and black, covered in rime ice. This is the Conwaketon Ridge, which means you've drifted too far east. You need to be west. You turn. The wind immediately proves it was waiting for you to turn around, and it hits you full in the face with a blast of snow and cold that feels like malice given form. You can't breathe. The wind is forcing air back into your lungs, or stealing it before it reaches your lungs, or doing something with physics that shouldn't be possible. You turn your back to the wind again, gasp, cough. Your lungs feel like they're full of ice crystals. Maybe they are. Can't descend in this, Jerome shouts. His face is covered in frost. His eyebrows are white. He looks like a prophet delivering bad news from an angry god. You know he's right. Descending in this visibility, in this wind, in this cold, is a decision that ends with both of you dead at the bottom of something. The mountain is offering you a choice. Stay and suffer, or leave and die. You choose suffering. The hot springs, you shout back. Jerome's face does something complicated. The hot springs are back up the slope, back the way you came, back toward the summit you just spent an hour trying to escape. Going back up means admitting defeat. It means spending the night on the mountain. It means facing whatever the storm decides to do for the next 12 hours. But it also means not dying in the next 2 hours. Jerome nods. You turn around and start climbing back up into hell. Climbing up is worse than climbing down. This seems impossible. Climbing up is always worse, but the mountain has found a way to make it more worse. Super worse. Transcendentally worse. Your legs are already exhausted from the descent. Now you're asking them to reverse direction and haul your body uphill through snow that's getting deeper by the minute. They're not happy. They're staging a protest. You override the protest and keep moving. The wind is behind you now, which sounds helpful. It's not helpful. It pushes you forward at the wrong times, making you stumble, nearly sending you sprawling into the snow. Walking in a straight line becomes a negotiation between your intentions, gravity's intentions, and the wind's random violence. You can't feel your feet anymore. You know they're down there, attached to your legs presumably, doing their foot jobs, but they've stopped reporting in. They've severed diplomatic relations with your brain. You watch them move under you like they belong to someone else. The cold is getting creative. It's not just making you cold. That would be boring. It's finding new places to be cold. The cold is in your teeth now, making them ache. The cold is in your bones, settling in like it's planning to stay. The cold is in your thoughts, slowing them down, making simple things complicated. You think, keep walking. Then you think, which direction is walking? Then you think, am I already walking? Then you realize you've stopped moving and you're just standing there like a very cold statue. Jerome grabs your arm, pulls. You walk. The hot springs are up here somewhere. You pass them on the way down. They're on the west side of the summit, where the volcanic vents hiss steam and sulfur into the air. You remember the smell. You remember holding your hands over the steam, warming them. That was 6,000 years ago, or maybe 3 hours. The timeline is unclear. You're looking for the smell now, for the steam, for any sign that the earth is still warm somewhere, but the snow is so thick you could be standing next to the springs and not see them. You could walk right past them and never know. Wait, there, a smell. Faint. Rotten eggs. Sulphur. The most beautiful smell in the world. You change direction, moving toward the smell. Jerome follows. The smell gets stronger. Then you see it, a column of steam rising through the snow, visible for maybe 2 feet before the wind tears it apart. You've found the hot springs. They're not really springs. They're volcanic vents in the rock, fissures where the mountain is releasing heat and gas from somewhere deep below. The rock around them is hot to the touch. Not just warm, but actually hot. Hot enough to melt the snow. Hot enough to burn skin if you're not careful. There are several vents scattered across maybe 30 feet of the rocky ground. Some are small, just cracks in the stone. Others are larger openings where steam billows out in clouds. The ground around them is bare rock, thin snow, and yellowish deposits of sulphur. You kneel down next to the largest vent. Hold your hands over it. The steam is scalding, hot enough to hurt. You pull back. Try again, holding your hands higher. This is better. The heat penetrates your gloves, warming your fingers, bringing feeling back in a rush of pins and needles. Jerome is doing the same at another vent. His face is red from the steam, red and raw and alive. "We'll have to stay here," he says. You nod. You've already figured this out. The storm shows no signs of stopping. Darkness is coming. Descending at night in this weather is suicide. The hot springs aren't shelter, they're barely even a location, but they're hot, and hot is the only thing keeping you alive. The area around the vents is maybe 20 feet across. That's your world now. 20 feet of volcanic rock in a universe of snow and wind. Beyond that perimeter, there's only cold and death. You'll spend the night here, in these 20 feet, and you'll be grateful for it. You and Jerome scout the area, looking for the best position. You need to be close enough to the vents to benefit from the heat, but not so close that you get burned by the steam or poisoned by the gas. The sulphurous fumes make you cough if you get too close. Breathe them too long and they'll do worse. You find a spot between 2 vents where the rock is warmest. There's a slight depression in the stone that offers a hint of wind protection. It's not comfortable. The rock is hard and uneven, covered with volcanic grit and sulphur deposits, but it's warm, relatively warm, warm enough. You brush away the snow, arrange yourself on the rock. Lie down on your back so your body contacts as much warm stone as possible. The heat comes up through your clothes immediately. After hours of cold, the sensation is overwhelming. It's too hot and not hot enough at the same time. Jerome lies down a few feet away between 2 other vents. You can hear him coughing from the fumes. You're coughing too. Every breath is a calculation. Breathe deep and get more oxygen, but also more sulfur dioxide. Or breathe shallow and avoid the gas, but maybe pass out from lack of air. The wind howls over your little sanctuary. Snow is accumulating on your front while your back warms against the stone. You're being simultaneously frozen and cooked. It's the world's worst rotisserie. This is where you'll spend the next 17 hours. The night hasn't even started yet. The darkness comes early because of the storm. The sky doesn't gradually darken through sunset and twilight. It just gets darker and darker until there's no light left except for occasional flashes of lightning that make the snow glow from within. You're lying on your back on volcanic rock at 14,000 feet, while a blizzard tries to bury you. The rock underneath is hot enough to be uncomfortable. The air above is cold enough to kill you. These 2 temperatures are meeting somewhere in the middle of your body, and your body doesn't appreciate being the meeting point. The snow falls directly onto your face. You close your eyes, but it doesn't matter. The flakes land on your eyelids, your cheeks, your beard. They melt from your body heat. Then the water freezes again. Your beard is becoming a solid mass of ice. You reach up to touch it, and it's hard, frozen stiff, like you've grown a beard made of glass. Your clothes are doing something similar. The snow lands on your coat and shirt, melts from the heat rising from the vents, then freezes when it contacts the cold air. You're developing an armor of ice, a shell. You're becoming a fossil in real time. The wind finds you even here, in your tiny shelter between the vents. It roars overhead with a sound like an ocean, like breakers crashing on a beach, except the ocean is made of air and malice. Gusts funnel down through the rocks and hit you with renewed force, carrying snow that's sharp as needles. You try to shift position, your back is getting too hot, borderline burning, even through layers of fabric. But when you move, cold air rushes into the gap between your body and the rock, shocking you. You settle back down, accept the heat. Your choices are burn or freeze, and burning is slower. Jerome is a dark shape in the darkness, maybe 10 feet away. You call out to him. You alive? A pause. Then, unfortunately. It's the kind of joke you make when you're not sure it's a joke. You laugh anyway. The laughter hurts. Everything hurts. Your ribs hurt from breathing the thin air, your muscles hurt from the climb. Your skin hurts from the cold and the heat and the general insult of being alive in this place. You try to take inventory, facts, science, the things you can measure. Temperature, well below 0 Fahrenheit, probably around -22 based on your last reading. Wind speed, impossible to measure, but definitely enough to kill an exposed human in minutes. Visibility, effectively 0. Duration until sunrise, unknown. You think it's maybe 8 p.m. now, which means 10 hours of darkness left. 10 hours feels like a geological age. Your feet are numb. Your hands are numb. Your face is numb. Your prospects are also numb. The interesting thing about extreme cold is how it changes your relationship with your body. Your body stops being you and starts being a thing you're responsible for, like equipment that needs maintenance. You're not cold, your body's cold. You're just the consciousness trapped inside it, watching it slowly fail. Your fingers stop responding to commands. You tell them to curl into fists and they sort of comply, slowly, like servants who are thinking about quitting. The numbness spreads up your hands to your wrists. You tuck your hands under your armpits, but it doesn't help much. The heat from the rocks isn't reaching that far. You think about frostbite. You know what it means. You've seen men lose fingers, toes, noses to the cold. The tissue freezes, dies, turns black, falls off. But knowing about it and experiencing it are different things. Right now, frostbite is just an abstract concern, something that might happen, not something that is happening. This is how the cold lies to you. It numbs the damage it's doing. The hours crawl past. You can't see your watch. It's too dark, and your hands are too numb to fish it out. But you feel time passing like a weight on your chest. Each minute is distinct. You count them. Stop counting. Start again. Around what you think is midnight, the storm intensifies. You didn't think it could intensify. You were wrong. The wind picks up, the snow gets heavier, and the temperature drops further. The mountain is showing you its full strength now. The lightning continues, sporadic, violent. Each flash illuminates the snow for a fraction of a second. You see the world in the still frames. White ground, white air, dark rocks, Jerome lying motionless. Then darkness again. The thunder comes immediately. You can feel it in your chest, in the rock beneath you. The storm is directly overhead. The lightning could hit you. This is not paranoia. This is a legitimate possibility you add to your list of ways this night might kill you. The list is getting long. The hot springs keep you alive, but they exact a price. The sulphurous gas makes you dizzy. At one point you start to drift off and Jerome shouts your name, sharp and urgent. You snap awake. He warns you about carbon dioxide. The gas is heavier than air and could be pooling in the low spots where you're lying. Breathe it too long and you'll just not wake up. So now you can't even sleep. Sleep, the one escape from this nightmare, is forbidden. You have to stay awake, stay alert, monitor your breathing, monitor Jerome's breathing. Make sure neither of you slips away into the comfortable dark. You lie there, you breathe, you count, you wait. The night is very long. Somewhere around what might be 3 a.m, your brain starts making things up. This is what brains do when they've been cold and starved of oxygen and fed nothing but sulfur fumes for 8 hours. They improvise. They fill in the gaps. They lie. You see a fire. Not a hallucination of a fire, an actual fire burning in the snow maybe 20 feet away. Bright orange flames crackling, throwing heat. You can almost feel the warmth from here. You start to get up, to move toward it, before some stubborn rational part of your mind asks the important question, Where would the wood come from? You're above the tree line. There is no wood. There is no fire. Your brain made it up, assembled it from wishes and cold, and the memory of every campfire you've ever sat beside. You lie back down. The fire vanishes. A few minutes later, or an hour later, time is broken up here. You see deer. A small herd of them, picking their way across the snow, browsing on vegetation that doesn't exist. You watch them for a while. They're very calm, unbothered by the storm. One of them looks at you. Its eyes are black and depthless. Jerome shouts something. You turn toward him. When you look back, the deer are gone. Did you see deer, you ask? No, Jerome says. I saw my mother's kitchen, clear as day. The table, the stove, everything. I could smell bread baking. You nod. This makes perfect sense. The mountain is showing you things, offering you little mercy hallucinations to make the night more bearable. Or it's killing you, and these are the first symptoms. Either way, there's nothing you can do except lie there and watch the show. The stars come out. This seems impossible. The storm is still raging, the snow is still falling. But between the clouds you can see stars. Bright, steady points of light. Ursa Major directly overhead, wheeling slowly through the night. The Milky Way like a river of light. You stare at the stars and they steady you. They're real. They're actually there. They've been there for millions of years and they'll be there for millions more, completely indifferent to whether you live or die on this rock tonight. This should be depressing, but somehow it's comforting. Your suffering is temporary. The stars are forever. The cold gets into your thoughts. You find yourself thinking in circles, chasing ideas that go nowhere. You think about why you're here. Not existentially, you know why you're here. You wanted to take barometric readings for science, but deeper than that. Why do you care about barometric readings? Why does anyone care about anything? You think about the people who will find your body if you don't make it down. You think about how you'll look, frozen solid, lying on volcanic rock in your shirt sleeves like an idiot. You think about what they'll say. He climbed a volcano in April without proper clothing. What did he think would happen? That's the worst part. Not dying, but dying while looking foolish. Your left arm stops working. Not stops working, it was already numb, but stops responding at all. It's just dead weight attached to your shoulder, heavy and useless. You try to move it and nothing happens. The arm doesn't care about your intentions. It's checked out. This frightens you more than anything else tonight. Your arm isn't numb, it's gone. You can't feel it. You can't move it. For all practical purposes, you don't have a left arm anymore. The mountain took it. You wonder what else the mountain will take before sunrise. Around 4 a.m., you're guessing now the wind changes. It shifts direction coming from the west, and with the change comes a slight decrease in intensity. Not much. The storm is still thoroughly committed to killing you. But there's a sense that maybe the worst has passed. Maybe the storm is running out of enthusiasm. This might be false hope. False hope is a thing the brain does when it's desperate, but you'll take it. You and Jerome start talking to keep each other awake. Short exchanges shouted across the 10 feet between you. It's too cold for real conversation. Instead you trade simple statements, confirmations that you're both still alive. Still here, Jerome shouts. Still here, you shout back. This goes on for an hour, 2 hours. You're not having a conversation. You're proving existence to each other. At some point, Jerome tells you about his childhood in Vermont. Snow so deep they had to tunnel from the house to the barn, his father teaching him to hunt, his decision to come west, to find gold, to be someone different than who he was born to be. You tell him about Scotland, about Dunbar, the castle, the sea, about your father making you memorize the Bible while the wind howled outside, about coming to America and thinking you'd left the cold behind. The mountain laughs at this. The sky begins to change. You don't notice at first, but gradually, impossibly, the darkness becomes less dark. Not light, not yet, but a deep blue-grey that suggests light might be coming eventually. Dawn. You've made it to dawn. You want to feel relief, but you're too exhausted. You've spent 17 hours lying on hot rocks while freezing to death, breathing poison gas, fighting hallucinations, and watching your body parts shut down one by one. Dawn doesn't mean you've won. It just means you've advanced to the next round. The storm is still raging. The snow is still falling. But there's light now, growing stronger, and with light comes the possibility of descent. You try to sit up. This is much harder than it should be. Your body is frozen into position, locked in place by ice and exhaustion. Your back is covered in burns from the hot rocks. Your front is covered in ice. You're a sandwich of misery. Jerome sits up too, slowly. His face is burned red on the bottom and frostbitten white on the top. He looks like he's been in a war. Ready? He asks. Ready. That's a funny word when your body has been converted into a collection of malfunctioning parts held together by stubbornness and bad decisions. But you nod anyway, because nodding is one of the few things that still works. You try to stand. Your legs have other ideas. They've spent 17 hours alternating between burning against hot rock and freezing in Arctic wind, and they're not interested in supporting your weight anymore. You get halfway up and your knees buckle. You sit back down hard on the rock. The impact sends pain shooting up your spine, which is good news actually. Pain means nerves still work. Second attempt. You roll onto your side, then onto your hands and knees. This position feels natural now, like you've evolved backwards into something that crawls. You push yourself up slowly, using your walking stick as a crutch. Your legs shake. They feel like they belong to someone else, someone very old and very tired. Jerome is having similar problems. He's managed to get upright, but he's swaying, listing to one side like a ship taking on water. His face is a disaster. The lower half is bright red, burned from the steam. The upper half is ghostly white with patches of grey, the unmistakable signature of frostbite. His lips are cracked and bleeding. When he speaks, blood appears in the corners of his mouth. "We need to move," he says. His voice sounds like gravel being crushed. You look around. The storm has lessened but not stopped. The snow is still falling, though you can see maybe 50 feet now instead of 10. The wind has dropped from actively trying to murder you to passively hoping you die. It's an improvement. The world is white. Everything is white. The ground is buried under fresh snow that must be 3 feet deep in places. The rocks you could see yesterday are gone, smoothed over, erased. The ridgelines that marked your route are invisible. You're standing in a blank page and you need to write your way down without any reference points. Your left arm still isn't working. You try to lift it and get nothing. It hangs at your side like a dead thing. You can't tell if it's frostbite or nerve damage, or if the arm has simply given up on life. You'll have to descend one-armed. Jerome pulls out his compass. His hands are shaking so badly it takes him 3 tries to open the case. When he finally gets it open, he stares at the needle for a long time. You realise he's having trouble focusing. The altitude, the cold, the sleepless night, it's all added up to something that looks like being drunk, except there's no fun involved. "Southwest," he finally says, pointing. Southwest, down the slope. Between the ridges you couldn't find yesterday. Except now there's 3 feet of fresh snow covering everything, and the ridges are invisible, and one wrong step will send you over a cliff you won't see until you're falling. You start walking. The snow is immediately a problem. It's powder on top, light and fluffy, but underneath there's a crust that sometimes holds your weight and sometimes doesn't. Each step is a lottery. Will the snow support you, or will you plunge through up to your waist? You won't know until you've already committed. Step, crunch. Okay, step, crash. You're in up to your hips, floundering, using your one working arm to haul yourself forward. Step, crunch, step, crash. It's exhausting. You're covering maybe 50 feet per minute when you should be moving 10 times that fast. The temperature is still brutally cold. The thermometer, which you check, because you're a scientist and scientists do stupid things like check thermometers when they're trying not to die, reads -18 degrees Fahrenheit. Your beard is still frozen solid. Icicles hang from the edges. You look like a particularly dishevelled winter god, if gods could make terrible decisions. After 30 minutes of walking, you've covered maybe a quarter mile. At this rate, it'll take 6 hours to reach the tree line. 6 hours of stumbling through snow, navigating by compass, hoping you don't walk off a cliff. Your body doesn't have 6 hours in it. You can feel yourself running out, like a clock winding down. Jerome stops, points. There. You look. At first you don't see anything, just more white. Then you notice a darker patch in the snow, a shadow that suggests depth. It's one of the ravines that cuts down the mountain face, a channel carved by snowmelt during summer. In good conditions, it's a clear route down. In these conditions, it's a trap that could avalanche at any moment, but it's also faster than breaking trail through deep snow. You look at Jerome, he looks at you. Neither of you says anything because you both know what you're thinking. The ravine is dangerous. The open slope is impossible. You'll take dangerous over impossible. You angle toward the ravine. The snow gets deeper as you approach it, drifted by the wind into massive piles. You're wading now, forcing your way through snow that's up to your chest. Each step forward requires 3 attempts. You push, sink, extract yourself, push again. Your working arm is on fire from the effort. Your dead arm swings uselessly at your side. You reach the edge of the ravine and look down. It's steep, maybe 45 degrees. The sides are rock covered in snow, and the bottom is filled with more snow packed and smooth. It looks like a slide, which it is. The question is whether you're going to slide down in a controlled manner or trigger an avalanche and ride a wave of snow and rocks to the bottom. Jerome goes first. He sits down at the edge, positions his ice axe across his lap and pushes off. He slides maybe 10 feet, then manages to dig in his heels and stop, looks back up at you, nods, your turn. You sit down, which is harder than it should be with one arm. The snow is cold enough to steal your breath when it contacts your legs. You position your ice axe, say a brief prayer to any god that handles mountain rescue, and push off. You slide. Fast. Faster than Jerome did. The snow under you is smooth as glass and you're accelerating. You try to dig in your heels, but you're moving too fast. You try to use your axe, but your dead arm won't cooperate. You're out of control now, rocketing down the ravine, and all you can do is try to steer and hope there's nothing solid at the bottom. The world blurs, white walls rushing past, the sound of snow hissing under you, wind in your face cold enough to hurt. You're going 40 miles per hour. Well, that's what it feels like. Might be 20, might be 5. Speed has become subjective. Then you hit something, not a rock, worse. A depression in the snow, a dip where the ravine bends. You go airborne for a moment, actually flying, and then you land hard on your side. The impact knocks the wind out of you. You tumble, roll, the world spinning, sky and snow and rock all mixed together. Your ice axe is torn from your grip. You're cartwheeling now, arms and legs flailing. You stop. Finally. You're lying face down in snow, tasting it, breathing it. Everything hurts in new and interesting ways. You don't move for a moment because moving seems like admitting you're alive and you're not sure you want to make that commitment yet. Jerome's voice reaches you. Muir, you alive? Unfortunately, you roll over. Sit up. Take inventory. Both legs present and accounted for, though unhappy about recent events. One arm working, one arm still dead weight. Head attached. Ice axe gone. Pride gone. Dignity never existed in the first place. You've descended maybe 300 feet in about 30 seconds. It's the fastest you've moved in 2 days. It's also the stupidest thing you've done, which is saying something given your recent track record. You stand up, almost fall down, catch yourself. Jerome is 20 feet away, trudging toward you through the snow. He looks as bad as you feel, which is to say he looks like death poorly reheated. We're not doing that again, you say. Jerome laughs. It's a broken sound, half cough, half wheeze. We're doing it 5 more times. That's the only way down. You look at the ravine stretching below you. He's right. You're in it now. The sides are too steep to climb out. The only way forward is down, and down means sliding, and sliding means losing control, and losing control means trusting the mountain not to kill you. The mountain has not earned your trust, but you don't have a choice. You never had a choice. The mountain decided what would happen the moment you reached the summit yesterday, and everything since then has been you slowly realizing what the mountain already knew. You start walking again, downward, always downward. The ravine narrows ahead, squeezing into a chute barely 10 feet wide. You can see where it drops off, another steep section that you'll have to slide or fall or fly down depending on luck and physics. Your body is shutting down in stages. First went your left arm, then your feet stopped reporting detailed information, only sending back vague signals that they might still be attached. Now your right hand is starting to go, the fingers stiff and unresponsive. Soon you won't be able to grip your ice axe. Soon after that, you won't be able to grip anything. You have maybe 2 hours before your body stops cooperating entirely. 2 hours to descend 3,000 feet through snow and rock, while the mountain does everything it can to shake you off its back. You'd laugh if you had the energy. Said you just keep walking one foot in front of the other, doing the math in your head and not liking the answer. The second slide is worse than the first. You know what's coming now, which means you have time to be terrified before it happens. Anticipation is its own kind of torture. You stand at the top of the chute looking down. It's steeper than the last one. Maybe 50 degrees and it drops away into white nothing. You can't see the bottom. For all you know, it ends with a cliff, an empty air. For all you know, you're about to learn if humans can fly. Spoiler, they can't. Jerome goes first again. He sits, positions himself, pushes off, disappears into the white. You wait for a sound, a shout, something to tell you he's alive at the bottom. Nothing, just wind and the hiss of falling snow. You count to 30. Still nothing. Either he's fine and too far away to hear, or he's not fine and will never make sound again. Only one way to find out. You sit. The cold shoots through your legs immediately, through fabric that's still damp from the last slide. Your dead arm flops uselessly. You tuck it against your chest like you're cradling an infant made of numb meat. Position your ice axe with your working hand. Take a breath that hurts going down. Push off. The world drops away. You're sliding, accelerating. The snow streaming past so fast it blurs. Your ice axe drags behind you, but it's not slowing you down, just making noise. You're going faster than before, gravity doing its job with enthusiasm. The chute bends. You don't. You hit the outer wall, bounce off, carom across to the other side. Your shoulder strikes rock hidden under snow and pain explodes through your chest. Something might have cracked. A rib, maybe. Add it to the list. You try to steer, but steering requires 2 arms, and you only have one that works. You're a sled with broken runners just along for the ride. The chute narrows further, and now you're wedged between walls of snow-covered rock. Your body scraping both sides as you plummet. Then the chute opens up, and you're flying. Actually flying. You've left the ground. There's air under you and nothing to stop you, and this is it. This is how you die. Falling through white space with no idea what you're falling toward. You land. Hard. Flat on your back in deep snow. The impact drives the air from your lungs. You sink into the snow, through it, down into a drift that swallows you whole. Everything is white and cold, and you're buried, actually buried, under several feet of powder. Panic hits. You can't breathe, can't see, can't tell which way is up. The snow is in your mouth, your nose, your eyes. You're drowning in frozen water, suffocating in powder. Your working arm flails, reaching for something. Anything. You find the surface. Your hand breaks through into air. You pull, dragging yourself up and out like you're being born from the mountain itself. Your head emerges. You gasp, cough, gasp again. Air has never tasted so good, even air that's minus 18 degrees and trying to freeze your lungs. You lie there for a moment, half in and half out of the snowdrift, breathing hard. Your heart is hammering in your chest hard enough that you can hear it in your ears. You're alive. Against all probability and common sense, you're alive. Muir, Jerome's voice, somewhere to your right. You turn your head. He's there, 30 feet away, also half buried in snow. He looks like he's been attacked by winter itself and winter won. But he's moving, which means he's alive, which means you're both still in this together. You extract yourself from the drift. It takes longer than it should because your body is running on fumes and stubbornness. When you finally stand, you can see where you are. You've dropped maybe 500 feet in 2 minutes. The chute you just rode is visible above you, a scar on the mountain's face, and below you, more chute. Another drop, and another beyond that. The ravine continues down the mountain in a series of steep sections separated by brief flat areas where you can catch your breath and contemplate your mortality. You're going to have to do this 3 more times. Your right hand isn't working properly anymore. The fingers are stiff, barely bending. You try to make a fist and manage something that looks like a claw. The cold has advanced from your fingertips to your palm. Soon it'll reach your wrist, and then you'll have 2 dead arms instead of 1. Jerome trudges over to you. Up close he looks even worse. His nose is white, bloodless. That's bad. That's very bad. His cheeks are blotchy, red and white mixed together like someone spilled paint on his face. His eyes are bloodshot, ringed with red. Can you feel your hands, he asks. One of them, you say. Sort of. He nods like this is acceptable news. It's not acceptable news. It's terrible news. But on a mountain where terrible is the baseline, it qualifies as not the worst news, which is its own kind of victory. You check your barometer. Miraculously it survived the slides. The glass is intact, the mercury still liquid. It reads a pressure that translates to about 11,500 feet. You've descended 2,600 feet from the summit. Only 8,000 more to go. Only. That word is doing a lot of work. The wind has picked up again. Not to storm levels, but enough to remind you that the mountain hasn't forgotten about you. Snow devils spin across the open areas, little tornadoes of white that dance and dissolve. The temperature hasn't changed, still -18, still cold enough to kill. You start walking toward the next drop. Your legs are making promises they can't keep, threatening to give out with each step. You don't trust them, but you don't have alternatives. It's walk or lie down and die, and you're not ready for the second option yet. The next chute appears ahead. This one is different, steeper, narrower, and you can see rocks jutting out of the snow like teeth in a mouth. Slide down this one and you're not sliding on smooth snow. You're navigating obstacles at speed while your body malfunctions around you. This is bad, Jerome says, which is his way of saying this is unsurvivable, but using more polite words. You study the chute. Try to find a line through it that doesn't end with your body wrapped around a rock. There might be one, on the left side, where the snow looks deeper. Might be. The problem with might is it's not the same as will. We could try to traverse around it, you say, but even as you say it, you know it's not realistic. The slopes on either side are steep and exposed. Cross them and you'll trigger an avalanche. Stay here and you'll freeze. Go down the chute and you'll probably die. These are your options. Jerome is already sitting down at the top of the chute, making the decision by action rather than words. He looks back at you. His expression says everything. This is insane. We're doing it anyway. If I die, tell someone I was here. He pushes off, slides 5 feet, hits a rock, spins sideways, continues sliding, now going backwards, hits another rock, flips completely over, tumbles in a mass of limbs and snow and ice axe, disappears from view. You wait, count to 10, 20, 30, no sound, no shout, nothing. You sit down. Your body screams in protest. Everything hurts. Your back is burned. Your front is frozen. Your ribs might be broken. Your arms don't work. Your legs are threatening to quit. And now you're about to throw yourself down a rock-studded chute because that's what the day has come to. You think about your mother, about Scotland, about the ocean crashing against rocks on grey mornings. You think about all the places you've been and all the places you'll never see if this goes wrong. You think about how your last thought is probably going to be, this was a terrible idea. You push off. The first rock comes up fast. You try to avoid it. Can't. Your hip smashes into it and you spin, now facing upward, sliding backwards down the mountain. The sky spins above you. Grey clouds, white snow, all rotating in a circle that makes no sense. Second rock. This one catches your shoulder, the same one you hit before. Pain blooms, bright and sharp. You grunt, which is all you can manage because your breath is being torn away by speed. You're tumbling now, over and over. Sky, snow, rock, sky, snow, rock. You've stopped trying to control it. Control is an illusion. You're just a body in motion, staying in motion until something stops you. Hopefully something soft, probably something not soft. You hit the bottom. This time you don't sink into a drift. You hit hard-packed snow and slide another 20 feet on your face, snow filling your mouth and nose and eyes. You stop. Don't move. Just lie there trying to remember why being alive is preferable to the alternative. Jerome's voice. Still alive. Unclear, you manage to say through a mouthful of snow. You roll over. Sit up. The world tilts at an odd angle and stays that way. Either the mountain is crooked or something in your head broke. You blink until the world levels out mostly. Mostly will have to be good enough. You've lost your ice axe. You scan the snow around you, but it's gone, buried or thrown clear during the tumble. Jerome has lost his too. You're descending a mountain in winter without ice axes. This would be funny if anything was funny anymore. Below you, the ravine continues. Gentler now. The angle has decreased to maybe 30 degrees. This is manageable. This is walkable. You can do this last section without sliding, without falling, without trusting gravity to be merciful. You stand. Your legs hold. Barely, but they hold. You take a step. Another. The snow is only knee-deep here. You can walk through it if you go slow, if you don't fall down, if your body keeps cooperating for just a little longer. 2 more hours. You just need 2 more hours and you'll be below the snow line, below the killing cold, in the trees where there's shelter and wood for fire and a chance of survival that's greater than 0. 2 hours. It might as well be 2 years. Walking becomes automatic. Not easy, but automatic. Your brain disconnects from your body and just watches from a distance as your legs keep moving. Step, step, step. It's like watching someone else walk, someone who's very bad at it. The ravine widens. The walls on either side pull back and suddenly you're on an open slope again. This should feel liberating. It doesn't. Open means exposed. Exposed means the wind finds you immediately, hitting you with renewed enthusiasm. It's like the wind was waiting, saving up energy, and now it's spending it all on making your life miserable. The snow is crusted here, hard enough to hold your weight most of the time. When it doesn't, you break through with a crack like breaking ice. Each time it happens, you wait to see if you'll keep falling, if there's a crevasse under the crust waiting to swallow you whole. Each time you find solid ground. Each time is a small lottery win. You're at maybe 10,000 feet now. The air is slightly thicker, which means breathing takes 3 gasps instead of 4. This is progress. This is your body slowly returning to an environment where humans can theoretically survive. Theoretically. Jerome is ahead of you by maybe 50 feet. He's moving slowly, listing to one side. Every few steps he stops, sways, catches himself. You recognize the signs. Hypothermia, exhaustion. The body's system starting to fail as it runs out of fuel and heat, and will to continue. You're not much better. Your vision is doing strange things. The edges of your sight are starting to narrow, like you're looking through a tunnel that's slowly closing. This is your brain rationing resources shutting down non-essential functions to keep the core working. Vision is negotiable. Breathing is not. Your dead arm swings at your side. You've stopped thinking of it as your arm. It's just weight now, meat attached to your shoulder. If you could cut it off and leave it behind to save energy, you might consider it. You won't have to. If the frostbite is as bad as you think, the arm will fall off on its own eventually. Nature's amputation. You try to count how long you've been descending. Left the hot springs at dawn, which was maybe 4 hours ago. 4 hours of sliding and falling and walking through snow. 4 hours of your body consuming itself for energy because you haven't eaten since yesterday, and there's nothing left to burn but muscle and hope. The mathematics of dying are simple. Your body needs calories to generate heat. You have no calories, therefore you have no heat. Therefore you die. It's not complicated, it's just physics applied to flesh. You need to eat. There's no food. You need to warm up. There's no shelter. You need to rest. There's no time. The equation doesn't solve. You keep walking anyway because that's all you can do. Below you, maybe 1,000 feet down, you can see a change in the landscape. The white of snow starts to break up, patches of darker colour appearing. Rocks, exposed ground. And beyond that, black dots that might be trees. The tree line. Salvation in the form of twisted pines that somehow survive at 9,000 feet. 1,000 feet. 30 minutes on a normal day. 2 hours today if you're lucky. If your body holds together, if the mountain doesn't find one more way to kill you before you reach safety. Jerome has stopped. Not just paused, but stopped completely. He's standing in the snow, motionless, like he forgot how to walk. You trudge up to him. Up close, you can see he's crying. Tears are freezing on his cheeks, turning to ice before they can fall. "Can't feel my feet," he says. His voice is flat, emotionless. He's just stating facts. "Haven't felt them for an hour." You nod. You understand. Your feet checked out a long time ago. They're still moving, but you're not sure how. Muscle memory, maybe. Or they haven't gotten the message that the rest of you has given up. "We keep walking," you say, because there's no other option. There's never been another option. The mountain doesn't care about your pain or your fear or your frozen feet. The mountain just is. You either descend or you die here. Those are the terms. Jerome nods, starts walking again. You follow. Two men who are mostly dead moving through a white hell by force of habit. The slope angles downward more steeply. You're entering another ravine, but this one is different. Shallower, wider, filled with rocks instead of snow. This is good. Rocks are solid. Rocks won't avalanche. Rocks will break your bones if you fall on them, but at least they're honest about it. You navigate between boulders the size of houses. They're volcanic rock, dark red and black, covered in lichen that looks like rust. Some of them are warm to the touch, still holding heat from summer, or from the volcano deep below. You press your working hand against the rock and feel warmth, actual warmth, for the first time in 20 hours. It's not enough to help. But it's enough to remind you that warmth exists, that somewhere in the world things are not frozen and terrible. That memory alone is worth something. Your right hand finally gives up. The fingers lock into a claw shape and won't unbend. You can't grip anything now, can't catch yourself if you fall, can't hold on to rocks or sticks or hope. Your hands are gone, your arms are gone, you're just a torso with legs, stumbling down a mountain. The tunnel vision is getting worse. You can only see directly ahead now, a circle maybe 10 feet across. Everything outside that circle is grey and vague. Your brain has decided peripheral vision is a luxury you can't afford. You fall, not dramatically. Just a simple trip over a rock you didn't see. You go down hard on your knees, then forward onto your face. The impact is distant, like it's happening to someone else. You lie there for a moment. The snow is cold against your cheek. It would be easy to just stay here. Close your eyes. Stop fighting. Let the mountain have what it wants. Jerome's hands are on you, pulling you up. He's shouting something, but you can't make out the words. Everything sounds muffled, like your ears are full of cotton. He gets you to your feet, pushes you forward. You walk because he's pushing you, because stopping means dying, and some stubborn part of you isn't ready for that yet. The trees appear, not gradually, suddenly. You crest a small rise, and there they are. Twisted pines clinging to rocky soil, dark green against white. They're the most beautiful things you've ever seen. Trees mean shelter. Trees mean you can get out of the wind. Trees mean firewood. Trees mean survival. You stumble toward them. Jerome is beside you, also stumbling. Two frozen men racing toward salvation at a pace that would embarrass a walking corpse. 50 feet to the trees, 40, 30. You reach the first tree and grab it with your ruined hands. Your fingers don't grip, but your arms wrap around the trunk like you're hugging an old friend. The bark is rough against your face. The tree smells like sap and life. You might be crying, but you can't tell because your face is too frozen to feel tears. You made it. Down from 14,000 feet. Down from the hot springs and the storm and the night that tried to kill you. Down through slides and falls and the slow failure of your body. You made it to the trees. Now you just have to make it the rest of the way down. Another 3,000 feet through forest and rock. Another few hours of walking on feet you can't feel with hands you can't use. You look at Jerome, he looks at you. Neither of you says anything, there's nothing to say. The trees are here, you're here, that's enough for now. You let go of the tree, start walking again, downward, always downward. The mountain isn't done with you yet. The trees don't care that you're dying. They just stand there, twisted and indifferent, their branches heavy with snow. You thought reaching the tree line would feel like victory. It doesn't. It feels like trading one kind of hell for a different kind of hell, this one with more obstacles and less visibility. The pines here are ancient and angry-looking, gnarled by wind and winter into shapes that suggest suffering. Their bark is cracked and peeling. Their needles are dark, almost black. They grow in clusters, pressed together like they're huddling for warmth, and between the clusters are gaps filled with snow and shadow. You stumble between the trees, using them for support when you need to, which is every few steps. Your arms don't grip, but you can lean, pressing your body weight against trunks that are solid and real, and not trying to throw you off a cliff. This is an improvement. Low bar, but you'll take it. Jerome is moving faster now. Adrenaline, maybe, or the knowledge that you're close to the end one way or another. He's 20 feet ahead, weaving between trees, leaving a trail in the snow that you follow, because navigating requires brain function you don't have anymore. The wind is less here, the trees block it, break it up, turn it from a howling monster into something that just whispers threats instead of screaming them. But the cold remains. The temperature under the canopy is maybe 5 degrees warmer than the open slope, which means it's only -13 instead of -18. Your body doesn't notice the difference. You need fire. This is the thought that keeps circling in your head like a vulture. Fire. Warmth. The thing that humans discovered thousands of years ago that separates them from animals. You need it now more than you've ever needed anything. But making fire requires hands that work, requires the ability to gather wood, to strike a match, to build a structure that will burn. You look at your hands, or the things at the end of your arms that used to be hands. They're swollen, discoloured, useless. Your fingers are locked in positions that suggest they've given up on life. Making fire with these hands is like trying to thread a needle with your feet. Jerome stops at a small clearing where the trees open up enough to let in grey daylight. There's an overhang here, a rock face that juts out and creates a space underneath that's mostly protected from snow. It's not a cave, it's barely shelter, but it's something. Here, he says. His voice is rough, damaged from breathing cold air and shouting over wind. We stop here. You want to argue? You want to say you should keep moving, get lower, get to the base where Captain Rogers is waiting with supplies and sanity. But your body makes the decision for you. You collapse. Not dramatically, just a simple folding of legs that stops supporting weight. You're sitting in the snow under the overhang, and you don't remember deciding to sit. Jerome is gathering wood. Dead branches from the ground, twigs from low-hanging limbs. His movements are slow, mechanical, like he's operating his body by remote control. He piles the wood in the driest spot he can find, arranging it with hands that shake so badly he drops half of what he picks up. You should help. You can't help. Your arms are decorative at this point. You sit and watch and try to remember what warmth feels like. The memory is distant, abstract. Warmth is something that happened to someone else in a different life. Jerome pulls out matches, the waterproof kind that explorers carry because regular matches are useless in conditions like this. His hands are shaking so badly that the first match misses the striking surface entirely. Second match breaks. Third match lights but goes out before he can get it to the kindling. Fourth match. Fifth match. Sixth match. None of them work. Either they go out immediately or they light but can't catch the damp wood. The pile of dead matches grows. Jerome's frustration grows with it. He's cursing now. Words that would make his mother cry, words that are absolutely appropriate for the situation. 10th match. This one lights and stays lit. He cups it with hands that don't really cup anymore, more like he's praying with the match between his palms. He touches it to the smallest twigs, the driest ones he could find. The twigs smoke. Smoke is promising. Smoke is almost fire. The smoke thickens. A tiny flame appears, orange and fragile. Jerome feeds it more twigs, gently, like he's feeding a baby bird. The flame grows, spreads to larger twigs. The sound of burning wood, that crackle and pop, is the most beautiful sound you've ever heard. Fire. Actual fire. Heat and light in a world that's been nothing but cold and darkness. You watch the flames like they're performing a miracle, which they are. The miracle of combustion, of stored solar energy being released, of chemistry happening in your favour for once. You don't move closer to the fire, your body won't let you, but you can feel the heat from here, faint at first, then stronger. It touches your face like a warm hand. Your frozen skin doesn't know what to do with warmth. It hurts. The heat actually hurts, like your face is being burned even though the fire is 6 feet away. This is frostbite announcing itself. When frozen tissue warms, nerve endings wake up and scream. You've heard about this. Now you're experiencing it. Your face is on fire with pain that has nothing to do with fire. Your hands start to throb, deep aching pulses that make you gasp. Jerome is experiencing the same thing. You can see it in the way his face contorts, in the way he's breathing through clenched teeth. The price of not dying is pain. The cost of warming up is agony. You pay it because the alternative is worse. The fire grows. Jerome feeds it larger branches, building it up into something substantial. The flames reach 2 feet high, throwing heat and light in a circle around the clearing. Snow begins to melt around the fire, revealing dark earth and pine needles beneath. You should remove your boots. Your feet are frostbitten, you're sure of it, and you should check the damage. But removing boots requires hand function, and also courage to see what's underneath. You have neither. The boots stay on. Whatever's happening to your feet can remain a mystery for now. Jerome is pulling food from his pack: bread, hard cheese, dried meat that's frozen solid. He tries to break the bread and it shatters like glass. The cheese is too hard to cut. The meat is a brick. He puts them near the fire to thaw, arranging them on rocks like offerings to a god of survival. You watch the food warm. Your stomach remembers hunger, that old familiar feeling that's been suppressed by cold and fear. The hunger comes roaring back, sharp and demanding. You haven't eaten in 24 hours. Your body has been burning itself for fuel, consuming muscle and fat to stay alive. Now it wants payment. The bread thaws first. Jerome breaks off a piece and hands it to you. You take it with your ruined hands, more catching it between your wrists than gripping it. You bring it to your mouth, bite, chew. The bread tastes like salvation, like everything good that ever existed concentrated into grain and yeast. You eat slowly because swallowing is harder than it should be. Your throat is raw from breathing cold air, from shouting, from the general abuse of the last 2 days. Each swallow is conscious effort, but the bread goes down and your stomach accepts it gratefully, and you feel something like energy beginning to return. The cheese comes next, then the meat. You and Jerome eat in silence, sitting on opposite sides of the fire, watching each other with eyes that have seen too much. You're both wrecks, both damaged beyond what a single night should be able to do. But you're alive and eating and warming up. That's more than you deserved an hour ago. The fire crackles. Outside the circle of warmth, the forest is grey and cold and indifferent. But inside the circle, there's heat. There's food. There's the possibility that you might actually survive this. You lean back against the rock face. Close your eyes. The warmth seeps into you slowly, fighting against cold that's had 20 hours to establish itself. It's a battle. The warmth is winning, but it's slow progress. You could sleep. You probably should sleep. Your body needs rest the way a drowning man needs air. But sleep feels dangerous. Like if you close your eyes now, they might not open again. So you fight it, forcing yourself to stay conscious, to stay present, to keep breathing. Jerome feeds more wood to the fire. The pile is shrinking. You'll need more wood soon. Someone will have to gather it. Someone with hands that work. You look at your hands, willing them to function. They ignore you completely. The pain in your extremities continues. It's not getting better or worse, just constant. A low-level agony that you're starting to get used to, which is either adaptation or a sign that you're too damaged to notice damage anymore. Either way, you're stuck with it. How far to the base, you ask. Jerome looks at you. His face is a map of damage. Frostbite white on his nose and cheeks, burns red from the steam vents. His lips are cracked and bleeding. His eyes are bloodshot. He looks ancient, like the last 2 days aged him 30 years. 3 miles, he says. Maybe 4. 3 miles. On a normal day, that's an hour of walking. Today it might as well be 30 miles. 3 miles through snow and forest with feet you can't feel and hands that don't work. 3 miles while your body continues to fail in new and interesting ways. But 3 miles is finite. 3 miles has an end. And at that end is Captain Rogers with supplies and horses and the possibility of actual survival instead of this moment-to-moment existence. We rest for an hour, Jerome says. Then we go. You nod. An hour. You can survive an hour. You've survived the last 20 and those were considerably worse. An hour sitting by a fire eating bread seems almost luxurious by comparison. The forest is quiet around you. No birds, no animals. Nothing lives up here in winter except the trees and the cold. You're trespassers in a place that doesn't want you, and the forest is waiting patiently for you to leave or die. Preferably die. You feed the fire with a branch you can roll toward it with your forearm. The flames consume it eagerly. Fire doesn't care about your pain or your frozen hands or your terrible decisions. Fire just burns. It's honest. You appreciate the honesty. The hour passes slowly, each minute distinct. You count them because you have nothing else to do. 60 minutes. 3,600 seconds, each one a tiny victory, each one a moment you're still alive. When the hour is up, Jerome stands. You stand too, though it takes 3 tries. Your body is stiffened during the rest, locked into position by cold and damage. Moving again is agony. Every joint protests, every muscle cramps. But you move anyway because staying here means dying here. You leave the fire burning. There's no point in putting it out. Let it burn. Let it consume all the wood. Let some future traveller find the ashes and wonder what desperate fools made camp here. Jerome starts walking. You follow. Downward, always downward. 3 miles to go. 3 miles between here and salvation. The mountain isn't done with you yet. Walking through snow-covered forest is different from walking on open slopes. The terrain is deceptive. What looks like solid ground is often hidden hollows where you sink to your waist. What looks like clear path is actually dense brush hidden under snow. The trees block your view of landmarks, turning navigation into guesswork. Jerome is navigating by memory and instinct. He came up this route yesterday, though yesterday feels like it happened in a previous life. He's looking for familiar trees, familiar rocks, familiar anything. The problem is snow has transformed the landscape. Everything is white and rounded and same-looking. One tree covered in snow looks like every other tree covered in snow. You follow his trail because you have no better option. Your sense of direction abandoned you somewhere around the hot springs. You couldn't find your way out of this forest if your life depended on it, which it does. So you follow Jerome and hope his memory is better than yours. The slope is gentler here, maybe 15 degrees, walkable without sliding or falling. But gentle slope means slow progress. You're not covering ground quickly. Each step is measured, careful, placing feet in Jerome's footprints because breaking new trail requires energy neither of you have. Your feet are making concerning noises, wet crunching sounds with each step, like you're walking on frozen sponges. You're not sure if that's the sound of snow compressing or the sound of your feet literally breaking down. You don't look. Looking would require stopping and you can't afford to stop. The throbbing in your hands has evolved into something sharper, stabbing pains that shoot up your arms with each pulse of your heart. This is nerves waking up, blood trying to return to places it abandoned. It's a good sign medically. It feels like being stabbed with hot needles repeatedly. Jerome stops suddenly. You almost walk into him. He's standing very still, staring at something ahead. You follow his gaze and see it. Tracks. Not human tracks. Something else. Something with 4 legs and paws. Mountain lion tracks. Fresh. The edges are crisp, not yet melted or filled in by falling snow. These were made in the last hour. Maybe the last 30 minutes. You and Jerome exchange a look. Mountain lions don't usually attack humans. Usually. But a mountain lion that's hungry and finds 2 barely mobile men stumbling through its territory might reconsider its usual habits. You're prey now. Damaged prey. Easy prey. Keep moving, Jerome says. Don't run. Don't act injured. Don't act injured. You almost laugh. You're injured. Every part of you is injured. Your arms don't work, your hands are frozen, your feet are questionable, and you're moving at the speed of an elderly sloth. If the mountain lion wants you, it can have you. You won't be able to stop it. You keep walking. Faster now, or as fast as you can manage. Which isn't very fast, but it's better than standing still. The tracks parallel your path for maybe 50 yards, then veer off to the left and disappear into dense brush. Is the mountain lion still following you? Is it watching from the trees? Calculating whether you're worth the effort? You don't know. You keep walking. What else can you do? The forest gets denser. The trees grow closer together, their branches interlocking overhead to create a canopy that blocks out most of the remaining light. It's dimmer here, twilight even though it's only early afternoon. The snow on the ground is thinner where the canopy is thickest, which is good for walking but bad for visibility. You start to see things that aren't there, shapes in the shadows that move when you look directly at them. Your brain is still making up reality, filling in gaps, inventing threats. That shadow is just a shadow. That movement is just branches swaying. Probably. Maybe. You're not sure anymore. Jerome is limping, favouring his left leg. This is new, or you just noticed it. Either way, he's hurt. Add it to the list of problems that don't have solutions. You're both falling apart in real time, and there's nothing to do but keep moving until you can't anymore. The terrain gets rocky. Large boulders emerge from the snow, obstacles that need to be navigated around. Some are small, car-sized. Others are massive, house-sized volcanic ejecta that the mountain threw out thousands of years ago and never cleaned up. You're climbing over a fallen log when your foot goes through. Not through the log, through the snow on the other side. There's a hole, a gap between rocks hidden under snow. Your leg plunges down into nothing. You fall forward, catching yourself on the log with your forearms. Your leg is stuck, wedged between rocks you can't see. You try to pull it out. Can't. Try again. Still can't. The rocks have you. Panic flutters in your chest. This is how it ends. Stuck in a hole in a forest, unable to free yourself, freezing to death while a mountain lion watches and waits for you to stop moving. It's not a dignified end. None of this has been dignified. Jerome is there, pulling at your shoulders, trying to extract you from the hole. Your leg scrapes against rock. Pain shoots through your shin. But you're moving, coming up, being pulled free. Your boot emerges from the hole, still attached to your foot, thankfully. You lie on the log for a moment, breathing hard. That was close. Too close. The mountain has been trying to kill you in big dramatic ways, but it's the small things that almost succeed. A hidden hole, a misplaced step, death by accident rather than disaster. Jerome helps you up, doesn't say anything. There's nothing to say. You both knew this was dangerous. You both knew the mountain had more tricks to play. Now you've seen one. Noted. Keep moving. The slope gets steeper. Not up. Down. You're descending into a ravine, a different one from before. This one has a creek at the bottom, or what would be a creek in summer. Now it's ice and snow, a white ribbon winding between dark rocks. The descent is treacherous. The ground is slick, covered in wet snow that offers no traction. You slide as much as walk, catching yourself on trees, on rocks, on Jerome when he's close enough. It's controlled falling rather than walking. You reach the bottom. The creek bed is mostly flat, easy walking compared to the slope. You follow it downstream because downstream means lower elevation, and lower elevation means warmer, and warmer means survival. The creek bed winds through the forest like a snake. You walk for what feels like an hour but is probably 20 minutes. Time has become elastic again, stretching and compressing based on how much you're suffering. When you're struggling over rocks, minutes take hours. When you're walking on flat ground, hours take minutes. You round a bend and see something that makes your heart sink. The creek bed ends, drops off. There's a waterfall here, frozen now, a wall of ice maybe 30 feet high. You need to get down that wall. Jerome examines the icefall, touches it with his hand. The ice is solid, thick, textured with frozen spray. There are features you could use for handholds if your hands worked. They don't work. You look at the ice wall and see an impossible obstacle. We'll have to go around, Jerome says. Around means back up the slope you just descended. Around means adding an hour to your journey. Around means more time in the cold, more time for your body to fail. But there's no other option. You can't descend 30 feet of vertical ice without hands and without rope. You turn around, start climbing back up the slope. This is defeat. This is the mountain laughing at you, forcing you to give back progress you fought for. You climb with anger fueling you. Anger at the mountain, at the storm, at your frozen hands, at every decision that led to this moment. The climb takes forever. Your legs are screaming. Your lungs are burning. The thin air is back, making itself known. You're at maybe 8,000 feet, which should be manageable. But after everything your body has been through, 8,000 feet feels like Everest. You reach the top of the slope. Find a game trail that parallels the creek. Follow it south, hoping it will lead to a place where you can descend safely. The trail is narrow, barely visible under snow, but animals made it so it must go somewhere. You walk for another 30 minutes. The trail descends gradually, angling away from the creek. Then it opens up into a clearing and you see, far below, a glimpse of something that makes your heart race. Smoke. A thin column of grey smoke rising into the grey sky. Smoke means fire. Fire means people. People mean Captain Rogers and the base camp and the end of this nightmare. You're close. Maybe a mile away. Maybe less. One more hour of walking, maybe 2, and this will be over. Jerome sees it too. He actually smiles, which looks wrong on his damaged face. Almost there, he says. Almost. That word again. Doing so much work. You've been almost there for 2 days. Almost at the summit. Almost down. Almost safe. Almost is a liar. But this time, maybe almost is telling the truth. You can see the smoke. You can smell wood burning. Faint but real. This isn't a hallucination. This is real. You start moving faster. Not running, you can't run, but walking with purpose, with hope. Dangerous thing, hope. It makes you careless. Makes you forget that the mountain hasn't released you yet. You're so focused on the smoke that you don't see the ice. Your foot hits a patch of frozen ground hidden under powder. Your leg shoots out from under you. You go down hard, landing on your side. Roll. Can't stop. You're sliding down the slope, gaining speed, tumbling over rocks and through brush. You hit a tree. Your shoulder takes the impact. Something cracks. Not the tree. The tree is fine. You are not fine. You lie there staring up at grey sky through grey branches. Everything hurts in new and creative ways. Your shoulder is definitely broken, or dislocated, or both. Add it to the collection of injuries you're accumulating like grotesque trophies. Jerome slides down to you, more controlled than your descent, but still sliding. He reaches you, helps you sit up. Your vision swims. The world tilts at an angle that architecture doesn't support. Can you walk? He asks. Can you walk? That's the question, isn't it? Can you keep going with broken ribs and frozen hands and now a shoulder that's doing its own thing independent of the rest of your body? Can you walk the last mile when the first 46 miles have destroyed you? You look down the slope toward the smoke. So close. So impossibly close. Yes, you say, because what else can you say? You've come this far. The smoke is right there. You'll crawl if you have to. You stand up. The world spins, settles. You start walking, one foot in front of the other, downward, always downward, toward the smoke and safety and the end of the longest 2 days of your life. The final mile is the longest mile. This is a universal truth of suffering. When you can see the end, when salvation is visible, every step takes forever. Time dilates. Space expands. The mile becomes 10 miles, becomes 100. You stumble through the forest like the walking dead, which is what you are, essentially. You should be dead. By all reasonable metrics, you are dead. But your body hasn't figured that out yet, so it keeps moving. Spite is a powerful motivator. The smoke gets stronger. You can smell it clearly now, not just wood burning, but meat cooking. Someone is making food. Someone is warm and safe and cooking food while you're out here dying by degrees. You hate them a little bit. You love them a little bit. Mostly you just want to be them. The terrain levels out. You're entering the lower valley now, the meadowlands that surround the base camp. The snow is thinner here, only a foot deep instead of 3. The trees are more scattered. You can see farther, which means you can see the camp. It's there. Actually there. A collection of tents around a central fire. Horses tied to a picket line. Captain Rogers himself standing near the fire, looking up the mountain like he's been watching for you. He sees you, points, shouts something you can't hear. Other figures appear from the tents moving toward you. You've made it. The knowledge hits you like a physical blow. You made it down, survived the storm, survived the night, survived your own terrible decisions and the mountain's best efforts to kill you. Your legs stop working, just stop. They've been running on fumes and now the fumes are gone. You sit down in the snow, not falling, just sitting. Your body has decided it's finished walking and you're not going to argue with it. Jerome sits down next to you. He's crying again, or maybe still crying, you're not sure. Tears run down his frostbitten cheeks and freeze into ice. He's smiling and crying at the same time, which is the appropriate response to surviving something that should have killed you. Captain Rogers reaches you first. He's talking, asking questions, but you can't process words. They're just sounds, friendly sounds. Concerned sounds. Sounds that mean you're safe now. Someone else is in charge. Someone else can make decisions. You're done making decisions. Hands are on you, lifting you. You're being carried. Not carried like a child, supported on both sides by men who understand that your legs have clocked out for the day. They walk you toward the camp, toward the fire, toward warmth and safety. The heat from the fire is overwhelming. After 2 days of cold, the warmth feels like being attacked. Your face burns. Your hands scream. Every frozen part of you wakes up at once and announces its damage loudly. Someone is removing your boots. You should protest, but you can't remember why. The boots come off, and with them, your socks. Your feet are revealed. They don't look like feet. They look like something that used to be feet and has been repurposed into modern art. Swollen, discoloured, covered in blisters. Your toes are white going to black. That's bad. You know that's bad, but you're too tired to care. Captain Rogers is wrapping your feet in blankets. Warm blankets. Someone else is working on your hands, wrapping them gently, murmuring sympathetically. These people are very nice. You make a mental note to thank them later, after you've finished being unconscious. Someone gives you hot soup. Beef broth, salty and rich. You drink it without tasting it, just feeling the heat go down your throat and into your stomach. Your stomach accepts it gratefully. Warmth spreading from your core outward, fighting against cold that's had 2 days to establish itself. You're wrapped in more blankets, heavy ones. You're a burrito of wool and damaged flesh. Someone is explaining that you need to warm up slowly, that rapid warming will cause more damage. You nod like you understand. You don't understand. You don't care. You're warm. That's all that matters. Jerome is next to you, receiving similar treatment. His feet look worse than yours, if that's possible. His nose is definitely frostbitten, black at the tip. He'll lose part of it. Might lose some fingers too. The mountain took its payment in flesh. Captain Rogers is asking about the storm, about the summit, about the measurements you took. You try to explain, but words are difficult. Your brain is frozen, thoughts moving through it like sludge. You manage to convey the basics: storm, night, hot springs, survived. The details can wait. The barometer. Someone asks about the barometer. You realize you still have it, strapped to your back, wrapped in canvas, miraculously intact. You carried it down a mountain through slides and falls and tumbles, and it survived. The glass didn't break. The mercury didn't spill. You completed the mission. The readings are there, preserved, ready for science. This should feel like an accomplishment. It feels empty. You risked everything for numbers written in a notebook. Numbers that will help calculate the exact height of the mountain, data that will contribute to human knowledge. Was it worth it? You don't know. Ask your fingers. If they could answer, they'd probably say no. But you're alive. Jerome's alive. The barometer is intact. By the narrowest possible margins, this expedition is a success. You didn't die on Mount Shasta. The mountain tried hard, threw everything it had at you. But you're still here. You lie back on something soft. A bedroll, maybe. A tent has appeared around you, canvas walls blocking out the grey sky. The fire's warmth is seeping in, turning the tent into something approaching comfortable. People are still moving around you, doing things to your body, checking your injuries, treating your wounds, making medical decisions you're not conscious enough to participate in. That's fine. They can do whatever they want. You're going to sleep now. Sleep. Real sleep. Not passing out from exhaustion or hypothermia, not the twitchy half-sleep of the hot springs, but actual deep sleep in a warm place where nothing is actively trying to kill you. Your eyes close, the world goes away. The mountain releases you, finally, after 2 days of holding you in its frozen grip. You sink into darkness that's soft instead of hostile, warm instead of cold. The nightmare is over, you survived. Against probability, against physics, against the mountain's best efforts, you survived. Tomorrow you'll deal with the damage. Tomorrow you'll count the cost. Tomorrow you'll start the long process of healing, of recovering, of living with what the mountain took from you. But tonight, you sleep. Deep and dreamless. The sleep of someone who cheated death and knows it. The sleep of someone who climbed to 14,000 feet in shirt sleeves and lived to tell about it. The mountain will be there tomorrow. It's not going anywhere. Neither are you. This isn't the end of your relationship with mountains, with wilderness, with the wild places that try to kill you. But that's tomorrow. Right now, there's only warmth and safety and sleep. You earned it. You wake up not knowing you'd been asleep. The transition from consciousness to unconsciousness happened without your permission. your body simply shutting down mid-thought like a machine that ran out of fuel. Now you're awake again, or something approximating awake, and the first thing you notice is the smell. Wood smoke, coffee, something cooking that might be bacon. These are smells that shouldn't exist in hell, which means you're not in hell anymore. You're somewhere else, somewhere with fire and food and the possibility of continued existence. You try to open your eyes. This is harder than it should be. Your eyelids are stuck together, crusted with something. Dried tears, maybe, or just the general accumulation of 2 days spent being destroyed by a mountain. You work at it, blinking, forcing the lids apart. Light enters. Grey light. Tent canvas light. You're inside. The tent is warm, not hot, not even particularly comfortable, but compared to the last 48 hours it's tropical. You're lying on something soft. A bedroll. Multiple blankets. You're buried under layers of wool and down, cocooned like you're being stored for later. You try to move your hands. They don't respond. For a terrifying moment you think they're gone. Actually gone. Amputated while you slept. Then you realise they're just wrapped. Bandaged. Thick layers of gauze turning your hands into useless clubs. You try to wiggle your fingers. Some of them respond. Others don't. You can't tell if that's because of the bandages or because the fingers themselves have given up, probably both. Your feet are similarly packaged. You can see them at the end of the blanket pile, 2 white lumps that used to be feet. They hurt. Not the sharp pain of injury, but the deep ache of tissue that died and is trying to decide whether to come back or stay dead. Someone enters the tent. Jerome. He looks better than you feel, which isn't saying much. His face is still a disaster. Red and white in patches like someone started painting him and gave up halfway. But he's walking, moving under his own power. This is more than you can claim. You're awake, he says. His voice is rough, damaged. Good. I was starting to wonder. How long, you ask? Your voice sounds like gravel being crushed. 2 days. You've been out for 2 days. 2 days. You lost 2 days to sleep. Or not sleep exactly. Something deeper than sleep. The kind of unconsciousness that happens when your body decides it needs to repair catastrophic damage and can't be bothered with consciousness while it works. My hands, you say. Jerome sits down next to you. His expression does something complicated. The doctor looked at them. Captain Rogers brought a doctor up from the settlement. He's seen frostbite before. And? Jerome takes a breath. You'll probably lose some fingers. Maybe 3, maybe 4, won't know for a few weeks. The tissue needs time to declare itself. Declare itself. That's a polite way of saying, wait for the dead parts to turn black and fall off. You knew this was coming. You felt it happening on the mountain. But knowing and hearing are different things. Which fingers? Left hand, the pinky and ring finger for sure. Maybe the middle. Right hand, possibly the pinky. The others might make it. Might. That word again. You're collecting a lot of mights. Might survive. Might keep most of your fingers. Might be able to use your hands again someday. Feet? Better than your hands. You'll lose some toes. Maybe 3 total, maybe 4. But you'll walk. The doctor's sure of that. You'll walk. This should feel like good news. It doesn't. It feels like the mountain took what it wanted and left you the scraps. Your nose is damaged, Jerome continues. He's in full inventory mode now, cataloguing your failures. Frostbite on the tip. You'll lose maybe a 1/4 inch. Your ears are burned from the steam and frostbitten on the edges. You'll keep them, but they'll look interesting. Interesting. That's one word for it. Mutilated is another. How about you, you ask? Jerome laughs. It's a bitter sound. I'm keeping 8 fingers. Losing my thumbs would be inconvenient, so those held on. Toes are anyone's guess. My nose is definitely shorter than it was, and I've got scars on my back from the hot rocks that'll make me popular at parties. You both sit there for a moment, 2 men taking inventory of what the mountain cost them. The silence is heavy but not uncomfortable. You've earned this silence, paid for it in flesh. Captain Rogers enters the tent. He's holding a bowl of something that steams. Soup, maybe. Broth. He hands it to Jerome, who holds it for you because your hands are useless. Drink, Rogers says. It's not a suggestion. You drink. The broth is hot and salty and the best thing you've ever tasted. Your stomach, which has been empty for what feels like weeks, accepts it gratefully. You drink the whole bowl, then another. Your body is a furnace that needs fuel and it doesn't care what kind. The barometer readings, you say between bowls. Did they survive? Rogers nods. They survived. You protected them better than you protected yourself. The measurements are good. We can calculate the exact height of the summit now. Congratulations. Science has been advanced. Science has been advanced. You paid for it with fingers and toes and a piece of your nose, but science has been advanced. Future climbers will know exactly how high Mount Shasta stands. They'll know because you went up there in April in shirt sleeves and nearly died. You should feel proud. You feel empty. The newspapers want to interview you, Rogers continues. Word got out about the storm, about you spending the night on the summit. They're calling you the luckiest man in California, or the stupidest, depends on the newspaper. Lucky or stupid, probably both. You went up a mountain in the wrong season with the wrong equipment, and survived through a combination of volcanic vents and stubborn refusal to die. If that's not luck, you don't know what is. Let them wait, you say. I need to sleep more. You've been sleeping for 2 days. Then I need to sleep for 2 more, Rogers nods. He understands. Recovery isn't something you can rush. Your body will take what it needs, and right now it needs more unconsciousness. Jerome helps you lie back down. The movement sends pain shooting through your shoulder, your ribs, your everything. You're a collection of injuries held together by bandages and spite, but you're alive. Against all probability and the mountain's best efforts, you're alive. That's something. Not much, but something. You close your eyes. Sleep comes immediately, pulling you down into darkness that's warm and safe, and nothing like the mountain. The days blur together. You exist in a haze of pain and soup and people checking your bandages. The doctor comes twice a day, unwrapping your hands and feet, examining the damage, making thoughtful humming sounds that tell you nothing. After a week he makes his pronouncements. Left hand, losing 3 fingers. Right hand, losing 1. Feet, losing 3 toes total. Your nose, losing the tip. This is the final accounting. The mountain's bill and you're paying it. The amputations happen in stages. The dead tissue has to be removed before it poisons the rest of you. The doctor has a small saw that he's very proud of. Very sharp, he tells you. Very precise. You don't watch. You look at the tent ceiling while he works and try to think about anything else. Jerome loses 2 fingers and 4 toes. He takes it better than you do, or pretends to. Could be worse, he says after his surgery. Could be dead. Could be dead. This becomes your shared mantra. Every time something hurts, every time the reality of what you've lost hits you, one of you says it. Could be dead. It's not comforting exactly, but it's true. The pain is constant. Not just from the amputations, but from everything. Your ribs are cracked. Your shoulder is either dislocated or broken. The doctor can't decide which. Your back is covered in burns from the hot rocks. Your lungs hurt from breathing cold air and sulfur fumes. Your throat is raw. Your eyes are bloodshot. You're a catalogue of injuries. If there was a museum of human damage, you'd be the centerpiece. After 2 weeks, you can sit up without help. This feels like a victory. After 3 weeks, you can stand. Your balance is off without all your toes, but you can manage a few steps before needing to sit down. The doctor calls this progress. You call it relearning how to be human. Jerome recovers faster. He's up and walking within 10 days, hobbling around camp with a stick for balance. His face is healing, the burns fading to pink scars. He'll be telling this story for the rest of his life, you realize. The time I almost froze to death on Mount Shasta. People will buy him drinks to hear it. You write in your journal. This is difficult with missing fingers, but you manage. You document everything, the climb, the storm, the night on the hot springs, the descent, the aftermath. You write it all down because if you don't record it, it feels like it didn't happen. Like you dreamed the whole thing. But your missing fingers prove it wasn't a dream. The mountain took them. They're still up there somewhere, frozen in the snow, small offerings to a deity that doesn't care. Letters arrive from the settlements, from San Francisco, from newspapers and scientific societies. Everyone wants to know about the measurements, about the storm, about how it feels to survive something that should have killed you. You don't know how to answer that last question. How does it feel? It feels like you traded pieces of yourself for a story. It feels like you cheated death, but death is keeping the deposit. It feels like you're alive, but not the same person who started climbing 6 weeks ago. That person had 10 fingers and 10 toes and a complete nose. That person thought mountains were beautiful and conquerable, and ultimately benign. That person was an idiot. This person, the one with 7 fingers and 7 toes and an abbreviated nose, knows better. Mountains aren't benign. They're patient. They wait for you to make mistakes, and when you do, they extract payment. Captain Rogers calculates the exact elevation of Mount Shasta using your barometric readings. 14,162 feet. The measurements are precise. The science is sound. Your data will be published in scientific journals. Your name will be in the papers. None of this feels worth 3 fingers. After a month, you're well enough to travel. The doctor clears you for the journey back to civilization. Jerome is coming with you. Neither of you wants to stay near the mountain any longer than necessary. You've had enough of Mount Shasta, enough of volcanoes and snow and cold that tries to kill you. The night before you leave, you sit outside the tent and look at the mountain. It's 60 miles away but visible in the moonlight, white and massive and indifferent. It doesn't care that it almost killed you. It doesn't care that it took your fingers and toes. It's a mountain. It does what mountains do. You feel something unexpected looking at it. Not fear exactly, not hatred. Respect, maybe. The mountain played by its rules and you played by yours and the mountain won. But you're still here, still breathing, still capable of looking at it and acknowledging what it did to you. You'll write about this mountain, not just the scientific observations, but the experience, the feeling of being slowly destroyed by cold and altitude and your own poor decisions. People should know. Future climbers should understand what they're risking when they decide to climb in the wrong season. Maybe they'll listen. Probably they won't. Humans are optimists. We think we're special, immune to the things that kill others. We think our determination matters to mountains. It doesn't. Mountains don't care about determination. They don't care about bravery or strength or how much you want something. They just are, and you either survive them or you don't. You survived, barely, at great cost, but survived. Jerome joins you outside. He's smoking a pipe, something he picked up during recovery. Thinking about going back up, he asks. God, no. Good, because I was going to have to call you insane. You both laugh. It hurts to laugh. Your ribs protest. But you laugh anyway, because what else can you do? Tomorrow you leave. Tomorrow you start the journey back to civilization, to cities, and warmth, and places where the temperature doesn't try to kill you. Tomorrow you begin the rest of your life as a man with 7 fingers and 7 toes, and a story that people won't believe. But tonight you sit here and look at the mountain that nearly killed you, and you acknowledge, quietly, that it was beautiful, devastating and brutal and nearly fatal, but beautiful. You'll never climb it again. Once was enough. More than enough. The mountain stands there, white and silent and eternal. It'll be there long after you're gone. Long after everyone who knows your name is gone. It doesn't care about your story or your survival or your missing fingers. It's just a mountain. And you're just a man who learned what mountains can do. The journey back to civilization takes 3 weeks. You travel slowly, carefully, like men made of glass. Every step is measured. Every rest stop is longer than it needs to be. Neither of you is in a hurry. The world can wait. You pass through small settlements where people stare at your bandaged hands and Jerome's damaged face. News of your survival has spread. You're minor celebrities now. The fools who climbed Mount Shasta in April and lived to tell about it. Some people call you heroes. Others call you idiots. You don't disagree with either assessment. In a town called Eureka, a newspaper reporter interviews you. He's young and enthusiastic and asks questions like, what was going through your mind during the storm? And would you do it again? What was going through your mind? Mostly, I'm going to die. Would you do it again? Absolutely not. You give him polite answers that he can print in his newspaper. You don't tell him about the hallucinations or the moment your arm stopped working or the sound your frozen beard made when you touched it. Some things aren't for newspapers. By the time you reach San Francisco, your story has grown. You've heard versions of it that don't match reality. In some tellings, the storm lasted 3 days. In others, you summited in a blizzard. In one particularly creative version, you fought off a mountain lion while descending. You fought off hypothermia and your own stupid decisions. That's dramatic enough. The California Academy of Sciences wants your barometric data. You give it to them gladly. They publish a paper with your name on it. On the exact elevation of Mount Shasta, as determined by barometric measurement. Your contribution to science, your 3 fingers bought this paper. Was it worth it? You're still not sure. Your hands heal slowly. The stumps where your fingers used to be are tender and strange. You have to relearn how to hold things, how to write, how to button your shirts. Simple tasks become complicated. Everything takes longer. You practice writing in your journal for hours each day. The handwriting is terrible at first, but gradually improves. You adapt. Humans are good at adapting. We lose pieces of ourselves and figure out how to function anyway. Jerome goes back to his family in Vermont. You exchange letters occasionally. His handwriting is worse than yours. He lost more fingers. He marries 2 years later. Starts a business guiding hunters. Lives a good life by all accounts. The mountain didn't break him. You go back to wandering. Back to exploring. Back to mountains, though you're more careful now. You check the weather. You bring proper equipment. You listen when people tell you a climb is dangerous. You learn the lesson the mountain taught you, but you don't stop climbing. People ask why you continue. Why risk it again after Mount Shasta? The answer is complicated. You love mountains. You love wilderness. You love being in places where humans are small and nature is large and the world operates by rules that don't care about your feelings. The mountain almost killed you, but it also showed you something. Showed you what you're capable of. Showed you that survival is possible even when it seems impossible. Showed you that humans are both more fragile and more resilient than we think. You carry Mount Shasta with you. Not just the physical scars, but the memory. The feeling of lying on hot rocks while freezing to death. The sound of wind trying to throw you off a cliff. The moment you realize you might not survive, but decided to keep trying anyway. These memories shape you. Make you more cautious, but also more confident. You know what your limits are because you found them on Mount Shasta. You know how far you can push before your body gives up. You know what dying feels like, the gradual shutdown, the cold getting into your thoughts. And knowing all that, you still climb. Years later, you write about Mount Shasta in your published works. You describe the night on the hot springs, the storm, the descent. People read it and think you're exaggerating. No one could survive that, they say. The cold alone would kill you. But you did survive, you and Jerome both. 2 men who should have died but didn't. 2 men who paid the mountain's price and got to leave. You look at your hands sometimes, at the missing fingers, and remember. Remember the moment they stopped working. Remember thinking you'd never use your hands again. Remember the doctor's saw and the small pieces of yourself you left behind. The mountain took 3 fingers and 3 toes and a piece of your nose. It took 2 days of your life and added 20 years of pain to your remaining ones. It took your innocence about nature's benevolence. In return, it let you live. It showed you beauty. It taught you lessons about survival and stubbornness and the thin line between life and death. Was it a fair trade? You'll never know, but you're here. Still writing, still exploring, still climbing. The mountain didn't stop you. It slowed you down, took some pieces, made you more careful, but it didn't stop you. And maybe that's the real lesson. The mountain can hurt you, damage you, take pieces of you. But it can't take your will to keep going unless you let it. You didn't let it. You came down from Mount Shasta missing fingers and toes, but still yourself. Still John Muir, explorer, naturalist, stubborn Scottish immigrant who refuses to let a mountain write the end of his story. The mountain is still there. You've seen it from a distance a few times, white and massive and unchanged. It'll be there forever, outlasting you and everyone you know. But you survived it. That's enough. That has to be enough. You close your journal. Your handwriting is crooked but readable. 7 fingers are sufficient for writing, for living, for continuing. The mountain almost killed you. Almost, but almost doesn't count. You're alive, damaged but alive, and that's more than the mountain wanted. You won. Sort of. in the way that surviving when you shouldn't counts as winning. And sometimes, late at night, when your missing fingers ache with phantom pain, you smile, because you remember what you survived. Remember that you're still here. The mountain took what it wanted, but it didn't take you. That's victory enough. You're home now. Not on the mountain, not in the base camp tent, but actually home. Weeks have passed since Mount Shasta tried to kill you. The missing fingers are still strange to look at. You keep reaching for things with hands that don't work the way they used to. Your brain hasn't updated the manual yet. People ask what it was like. You tell them it was cold. They laugh like that's a joke. It's not a joke. You don't know how to explain that cold isn't just a temperature. It's a presence, a thing with intentions. They weren't there. They can't understand. The barometric readings were published. Scientists cited your work. Your name appeared in journals next to numbers that quantify exactly how high Mount Shasta stands. 14,162 feet. You paid 3 fingers, 3 toes, and a piece of your nose to learn that number. The mountain set its price, and you paid it. Was it worth it? People ask this too, like there's a simple answer. Like you can weigh scientific knowledge against body parts on some cosmic scale and determine fair market value. You don't have an answer. Some days you think yes. Some days you look at your hands and think absolutely not. But here's what you know now that you didn't know before. Mountains don't care about your dreams. They don't care about science or progress or human achievement. They just exist, ancient and indifferent, waiting for someone to make a mistake. You made several mistakes. The shirt sleeves, the late departure from the summit, the decision to stay when you should have descended. Each mistake was small. Together they nearly killed you. That's how the mountain works. It doesn't need one catastrophic error. It just needs you to be slightly wrong, repeatedly, until wrong becomes fatal. Jerome writes to you sometimes. His letters are cheerful, optimistic. He's back guiding climbers, -2 fingers, and with a nose that's more memory than reality. He doesn't talk about the night on the hot springs, neither do you. Some things don't need to be discussed. You were there, that's enough. You'll climb again. You know this, even though it's insane. The mountain damaged you and you're already planning your return to other peaks, not Shasta. You're done with Shasta. But there are other mountains, other heights to measure, other data to collect. The missing fingers won't stop you. They'll just make you more careful. Or maybe they won't. Maybe you'll make the same mistakes on a different mountain. Maybe that's what drives people like you, the inability to learn the lesson the mountain teaches. The mountain says stay away. You hear come back. You look at your hands now, at the gaps where fingers used to be. They're permanent reminders. The mountain marked you, made you part of its collection of people who climbed too high, stayed too long, believed too much in their own survival. But you did survive. That matters. You climbed into hell and climbed back out. The mountain took its payment, but it didn't take everything. You're still here, still breathing, still planning the next expedition. Maybe that makes you brave. Maybe it makes you stupid. Probably both. You write this down for other climbers, for the ones who'll come after you, who'll see Mount Shasta and think it looks conquerable. Here's what you want them to know. The mountain always wins. Always. You can survive it, like you did, but you'll leave something behind. Fingers, toes, innocence. The belief that nature can be conquered through will alone. The mountain doesn't negotiate. It doesn't compromise. It sets its terms, and you either accept them or you die. You accepted them. You lived. That's the story. Was it worth it? That's for you to decide. Would you trade 3 fingers for knowledge? Would you trade comfort for discovery? Would you risk everything for one perfect view from a summit at dawn? John Muir did. He'd do it again tomorrow. The mountains are calling after all, and he must go. Final thought. John Muir survived Mount Shasta but paid the price in flesh. He could have stayed safe, stayed comfortable, kept all his fingers. Instead he climbed. Would you? When the mountain calls your name, when adventure promises glory but guarantees nothing, what price would you pay? Comment below. Are some discoveries worth any cost? Or are there limits to what we should sacrifice for knowledge?